Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribhradagacharya Sutara Shri Śrimad Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Śrimad Bhagāvatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Tamal Krishna Daswamti Namani Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamti Namani Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Satarini. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasya Praeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. Good morning. Reading from Śrimad Bhagāvatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 8, Prayers by Queen Kunti, and we are doing text 35.
今日我哋繼續閱讀聖典《Bhagāvatam》第一篇創造啦，第8章觀調皇后的祈禱第35節。
Bhave Asmin Klishyamananam Avidya Kama Karma Bihi Shravana Smarana Arhani Karishyan Iti Kechana Bhavesmin Klishyamananam Bhavesmin Klishyamananam avidya kama karma bihi
avidya kama karma bihi
avidya kama karma bihi
avidya kama karma bihi
Shravana smaranarhani
Shravanam smaranarhani
Shravana smaranarhani
Shravana smaranarhani
Karishyan iti kechana
Karishyan iti kechana
Karishyan iti kechana
Karishyan iti kechana
Bhavesmin klishyamananam
Bhavesmi krishyamananam
Avidya kama karma bihi
Avidya kama karma bihi
Shravana smaranarhani
Shravana smaranarhani
Karishyan iti kechana.
Karishyan iti kechana.
Please chant. Bhavesmin klishyamananam
Avidya kama karma bihi
Shravana smaranarhani Karishyan iti kechana.
Bhavesmin klishyamanani
Bhavesmin klishyamananam
Avidya kama karma bihi
Avidya kama karma bihi
Shravana smaranahani
Shravana smaranahani
Karishyan iti kechana
Karishyan iti kechana. Bhavesmin klishyamananam Avidya kama karma bihi Shravana smaranarhani Karishyan iti kechana. Bhave in the material creation.
在物質的創造中
Asmin this
這
klishyamananam
Shamananam
of those who are suffering from
of those who are suffering 受苦的人的
avidya
avidya
nescience
無知
kama desire
慾望
karma bihi
karma bihi
by execution of fruitive work
by execution of fruitive work 通過從功利性活動
Shravana
hearing 聽見
Smarana remembering 記得 Arhani worshipping
崇拜
Karishyan may perform
有機會履行
Iti thus
因此
Kechana others
其他人
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. And yet others say that you appear to rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping and so on, in order that the conditioned soul suffering from the material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation.
譯文為要只有聖帕帕提供譯文，但其他人卻說你顯然是為了恢復聆聽、記憶和崇拜等各項奉愛服務，以使歷盡物質痛苦嘅受制約嘅靈魂從中受益，獲得解脫。
Purport. In the Śrimad Bhagavad-gītā, the Lord asserts that He appears in every millennium just to re-establish the way of religion. The way of religion is made by the Supreme Lord. No one can manufacture a new path of religion, as is the fashion for certain ambitious persons. The factual way of religion is to accept the Lord as the supreme authority and thus render service unto Him in spontaneous love. A living being cannot help but render service because he is constitutionally made for that purpose. The only function of the living being is to render service to the Lord. The Lord is great, and the living beings are subordinate to Him. Therefore, the duty of the living being is just to serve Him only. Unfortunately, the illusioned living beings, out of misunderstanding only, become servants of the senses by material desire. This desire is called avidya or nescience. And out of such desire, the living being makes different plans for material enjoyment centered about a perverted sex life. He therefore becomes entangled in the chain of birth and death by transmigrating into different bodies on different planets under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Unless, therefore, one is beyond the boundary of this nescience, one cannot get free from the threefold miseries of material life. That is the law of nature. The Lord, however, out of His causeless mercy, because He is more merciful to the suffering living beings than they can expect, appears before them and renovates the principles of devotional service comprised of hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, cooperating and surrendering unto Him. Adoption of all the above mentioned items or any one of them can help a conditioned soul get out of the tangle of nescience and thus become liberated from all material sufferings created by the living being, illusioned by the external energy. This particular type of mercy is bestowed upon the living being by the Lord in the form of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
要指至尊主在《普加梵歌》中聲明，他為了重建宗教之途而在每個年代顯現。宗教之途是至尊主親自制定的，沒人能另闢途徑。但某些野心家卻把自創宗教作為一種時髦來追趕。真正嘅宗教是把至尊主接受為至尊無上嘅權威，然後懷着發自內心嘅愛為他服務。生物自然就有做服務嘅傾向，因為創造他的目的就在於此。生物唯一要行使嘅職責就是為至尊主服務。至尊主至高無上，生物從屬於他，因此生物嘅職責就是為他服務。不幸的是，被假象迷惑嘅生物因為錯誤的認識而受物質慾望嘅驅使，成了感官嘅僕人。這種物質慾望被稱為愚昧 avidya。受這種慾望嘅驅使，生物制定出以扭曲嘅性生活為中心嘅種種物質享樂計劃，從而被至尊主指揮着在各個星球上的各種軀體中輪迴，被捆綁在生與死嘅枷鎖中。他除非超越愚昧，否則不可能擺脱物質生活嘅三重苦難，這是物質自然嘅法律。然而，由於至尊主對受苦嘅靈魂極為仁慈，其仁慈程度超出靈魂嘅期望，因此他出於沒有緣故嘅仁慈，來到受苦嘅靈魂面前，重建奉愛服務嘅原則。 這些原則包括聆聽、吟誦、吟唱、記憶、服務、崇拜、祈禱，以及與神合作、投靠他。無論是全部做這些服務，或選擇其中的一項去做，都有助於受制約嘅靈魂去除愚昧，從而擺脫受外在能量嘅迷惑所造成嘅物質痛苦。這一特殊嘅仁慈是至尊主以 Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 這一形象顯現後賜予生物的。
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshushanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karati Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripātamam Vande Shri Gurum Denataranam Paramanandamadam Shri Chaitanya Ishvara Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gododeya Pushpavanto Chitrasando Tamonam Bhavesmin Krishyamananam avidya kama karma bihi shravana smaranarhani karishyanniti kechana. And yet others say that you appear to rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping and so on in order that the conditioned soul suffering from the material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation.
今日嘅詩節啦，但其他人卻說你顯現是為了恢復聆聽、記憶和崇拜等各項妨礙服務，以使歷盡物質痛苦嘅受制嘅靈魂從中受益，獲得解脫。
So just like the Lord has said in the Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada quotes here, that He comes every millennium.
咁就好似至尊主喺國家梵經入邊講啦，佢每個年代都會顯現。
Mainly to make sure that they follow a system of process. Here it's called religion.
咁我哋就係肯定咧，就係生物體咧會遵守一個既定嘅系統啦。咁呢個就被稱為宗教原則。
In following this process or religion, you or all of us will come to the conclusion that we are not this body and there is a supreme personality of God.
咁如果我哋每一個生物體都遵守呢一個嘅系統啦，即係宗教啦，咁個結論咧就係咧，我哋會知道咧，我哋唔係呢一個軀體，我哋係一個靈魂。
Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. That means the religious processes are made by God, not by ordinary men.
咁呢個宗教原則咧係由神所做嘅，唔係普通生物體所建立嘅。
But nowadays, so many people who are very intelligent, but they are also foolish at the same time.
咁所以現今有好多人咧，佢哋係好有智慧嘅，但係同一時間亦都係充滿咗愚昧。
They are intelligent because they may be able to read and understand many things, but they are foolish because they cannot accept that there is a supreme personality of God here.
佢哋好有智慧啦，因為佢哋可以咧去讀好多嘅書，去理解好多嘅知識，但佢哋都係充滿咗愚昧，因為咧佢哋冇辦法明白咧係至尊主嘅存在。
And therefore they sometimes think there is no God, and they create their own system of religion.
咁所以咧好多時佢哋就會以為咧呢個世界係冇神嘅，佢哋就會創造自己嘅宗教。
And they may borrow some from one religion, another aspect from another religion, something from Vedas, and then they call it this the best religion.
咁於是咧，佢哋就喺某個宗教度就攞啲嘢出嚟啦，喺另外一個地方又再攞啲嘢出嚟啦，亦都會咧係取用喺偉大經入邊嘅一啲知識，跟住然之後就話咧佢自己創一套系統出嚟，就話呢個係最好嘅。
Just like they are foolish, they also get foolish people following them.
因為佢哋係愚蠢嘅，但係佢哋都有啲更愚蠢嘅人咧去追隨佢哋。
Just like if you see if someone is very expert in business, a lot of businessmen will want to have their association.
咁就好似你見到一個生意人啦，如果佢好精通做生意嘅，好多其他人咧都會希望咧可以同佢聯誼，同跟住佢。
Similarly, there are people who are envious of the supreme authority of the Lord, so they all get together and they create their own religion.
咁同樣地咧，有好多人咧係去妒忌咧至尊主嘅呢個絕對嘅權威，於是佢哋就會聚埋一齊咧，就創造佢自己嘅宗教。
You will also find this contamination is also among devotees who are not practicing properly.
咁亦都係喺可以咧喺一啲唔係好正確咁樣收集嘅奉獻者身上咧揾到呢個特徵。
They want to have some control, so they tell everyone, actually it's okay, we don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. Prabhupada don't understand. Krishna don't know what is good for me. And then there are foolish people who follow them.
咁咧有啲奉獻者就會話啦，其實佢哋唔明嘅，聖巴巴唔明我哋，Krishna 唔明白我哋咩對我哋最好，我哋根本就唔知道我哋需要啲乜嘢。於是咧佢就自己創立一啲嘢出嚟啦，然之後竟然有啲愚蠢嘅人咧亦都會跟住佢哋，跟從佢哋。
They do not say that, okay, now I cannot do, but I will continue doing what I can, and later on I will do the best standard.
佢哋並唔會話咧，我而家做唔到，但係我會咧係盡我所能做我能夠做到嘅嘢，希望將來咧有啲我而家做唔到嘅嘢咧，我將來都會做到。
And there are foolish people who think if I can control everything, just like Hiranyakashipu, I will be very happy.
咁亦都有啲好愚蠢嘅人咧，就會覺得如果我能夠控制一切咧，就好似 Hiranyakashipu 咁，我咧就會變得非常之快樂。
So we all know about the story of Hiranyakashipu. Was he happy?
咁我哋都知道Hiranyakashipu 嘅故事啦。佢係咪開心咧？
He conquered the entire universe. He conquered the demigods. Everybody he conquered.
佢咧征服咗成個宇宙，征服咗所有嘅半神人，征服所有嘅人類。
But he couldn't conquer his own son.
但係冇辦法咧征服佢自己嘅兒子。
He found his son to be a thorn in his life.
佢咧發現咧佢嘅兒子就好似咧佢嘅生命入邊嘅一根刺咁樣。
Then he was thinking, if I kill my son, then I will be happy.
咁於是佢就諗啦，如果我殺死我嘅兒子咧，我就會快樂。
And in trying to kill his son, he was killed.
咁當佢嘗試去殺死佢兒子嘅過程當中咧，佢咧就被殺死。
So he also created his own system of religion.
佢都咧係創立咗咧佢自己嘅呢一個宗教系統。
He banned everyone from worshipping Vishnu.
佢咧制止所有人咧去崇拜 Vishnu。
And he told everyone they have to worship him.
咁咧佢哋同每一個人講：你哋咧要崇拜我。
But you can see we cannot manufacture our own religious principles.
但我哋睇到咧，佢冇辦法能夠咧係創造咧呢個真正嘅宗教原則。
If you think you're very smart, then you get ready to get your stomach torn by Narasimhadev.
如果你自以為自己好聰明嘅話咧，你就要準備咧，你嘅肚腹咧會被主Narasimhadev咧用佢嘅手甲咧係燙開。
So Srila Prabhupada explains that all we have to do is follow the system that is already in practice for so many millenniums.
咁所以咧，聖巴巴就教導我哋只需要咧係跟從咧呢個已經喺好多年代建立成嘅呢個宗教原則。
Particularly for us, we have so many powerful Vaishnava acharyas, and they have always given us the same practice.
咁尤其是我哋嘅傳承入邊啦，我哋有好多非常之有力量嘅靈性導師啦、先師啦，佢哋咧俾咗好多非常好嘅收集嘅方法俾我哋。
If you look at it from the time of Lord Chaitanya, we have not changed anything except the amount or quantity.
咁咧，如果我哋由住咗坦爺嗰度開始睇起咧，咁多個靈性導師，其實我哋冇改變過任何嘢，我哋只係改咗咧我哋要做嘅嘢嘅量係幾多。
Instead of chanting 64 rounds every day, which is like for some people will be 8 to 10 hours a day.
咁咧以前咧就係要每日咧最少要念誦64個圈嘅。咁對於一般對於好多奉獻者嚟講，就即係話等於係8至10個小時嘅念誦。
And if we were to chant 8 or 10 hours, then we cannot, especially nowadays, you cannot earn a living.
咁如果喺現今嘅世代，如果我哋每日要念誦8至10個鐘頭咧，我哋就冇辦法咧可以賺錢為生。
Srila Prabhupada understood this problem and said, for now everyone minimum 16 rounds a day.
咁所以聖巴巴好明白呢一點啦。咁所以咧，佢就話由而家開始咧，每人咧最少每日要念誦16個圈。
to follow the 4 regulative principles and render service to Krishna.
咁你亦都要遵守4個規範守則啦，同埋咧為 Krishna 做奉愛服務。
This is our sadhana bhakti.
呢個咧我哋規範性嘅奉愛服務。
Now, when you do your sadhana bhakti very nicely, without any other thoughts in your mind, it becomes pure devotional service.
咁如果我哋好非常之嚴格咁樣去履行呢一個規範性嘅奉愛服務，而我哋個思想入邊咧冇其他嘅雜念嘅話咧，咁呢個咧就成為一個純粹嘅奉愛服務。
We don't desire anything for ourselves. We desire to please Krishna. We don't want any knowledge except knowledge how to serve Krishna.
咁我哋咧係冇任何自己嘅慾望咯，我哋唯一嘅慾望就係為咗去取悅 Krishna。我哋亦都咧係and the last one is no
serve.
亦最後咧就係我唔想要得到其他任何嘅知識，淨係想得到呢個知識咧係點樣去為 Krishna 做服務。
So when you do that, you automatically progress to pure devotional service.
咁如果你咁樣做嘅話，你自動咧就會咧係進階咧去到呢個純粹奉愛服務嘅階段。
When you're doing properly, you are at the sadhana in the beginning, you will be doing a lot of offenses and so on, but you gradually come to become very fixed in your practices.
咁開始嘅時候，我哋做嘅服務咧會入邊有混雜咗好多嘅其他嘢啦，混雜咗好多嘅冒犯啦。但係當我哋慢慢繼續好認真咁去做嘅時候咧，我哋就會非常之堅定咁樣處喺我哋嘅奉愛服務當中。
Adau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya, then you come to the point of Nishta, fixed.
咁我哋有9個奉愛服務有9個階段啦，由信心開始啦，跟住就係同奉者聯誼啦，跟住做服務啦，跟住慢慢就會去到咧呢一個咧係堅定 Nishta 嘅階段。
In Nishta stage, you won't do any more offenses or not really. You won't do any more breaking of principles or desires that are not pleasing to Krishna.
咁去到 Nishta 即係呢個好穩定嘅階段嘅時候咧，你就唔會再唔遵守規範守則，你都唔會做任何嘢咧係淨係會做啲嘢去取悅 Krishna。
If you perfect the Nishta stage, then you can then be given the opportunity by the mercy of Krishna to do spontaneous loving service.
咁如果你能夠喺 Nishta 呢個階段咧非常之穩定咁樣繼續嘅話咧，你就會咧得到至尊主嘅仁慈咧，可以咧係可以 to do what?
Spontaneous.
Sorry， 咁你就會去到呢一個咧係自發嘅奉愛服務。
That means at Nishta stage, no more anarthas, no more nivritti is gone.
咁所以咧，即係話去做 Nishta 穩定嘅階段咧，就已經你所有唔好嘅雜質咧 ，anartha 咧已經係被清除晒。
At that time, your devotion to Krishna is coming to a very pure stage, so therefore, you spontaneously, Krishna will reciprocate with you, or an eternal associate of Krishna will contact you.
咁去到呢一個階段，去到 Nishta 呢個階段咧，即係話你冇晒呢啲雜質啦，咁你係好純粹嘅服務嘅，咁 Krishna 都會回應你嘅，或者咧係 Krishna 嘅一個永恆嘅同友咧，會回應你嘅服務。
Srila Prabhupada said that is what we are created or made for.
咁呢個咧亦都係我哋點解要被創造出嚟嘅原因。
We are not made for enjoying this material world.
我哋被創造出嚟咧，並唔係咧要去享受呢個物質世界。
We are not meant to control this material world.
我哋亦都唔係咧係個目的係為咗控制呢個物質世界。
Even if you are given the position of a controller of this material world, you're still not happy.
咁就算咧你被委派作為呢一個宇宙嘅控制者咧，你都唔會覺得開心嘅。
We know Lord Indra, he's the king of all the demigods.
咁我都知道咧 ，Indra 咧，天帝 Indra 咧就係呢個所有半神人嘅國王。
He's always afraid if some sage is doing some serious tapasya to get some higher position in the heavenly planet.
咁我都知道咧 ，Indra 咧成日都好驚嘅，一啲聖人啊，去做好多嘅苦行咧，嚟到去搶咗佢個位。
You cannot control that. Things will happen in your own life. Yeah.
咁你冇辦法控制呢一切嘅，所有好多嘢咧都會喺你嘅人生入邊咧發生。
You may think I am safe, even company CEO, right? Big CEOs, they think, oh, now I'm a CEO.
可能你會諗啦，我而家好安全啦，可能你係一個大公司嘅總裁啦，咁我咧就非常之安全啦。
But even they, after some time, they will have to either get replaced or they can die and someone will take over.
咁但係咧點都好啦，過一段就算你係一個大公司嘅總裁啦，過一段時間咧，可能你被人取締咗你嘅位置啦，或者你都會死嘅，你就一無所有。
If you ask anybody, do you want to die? Nobody will say yes.
如果你問任何一個人你想唔想死啊，所有人咧都話佢唔想嘅。
So how can you control death?
你有冇辦法控制到死亡咧
？So there are many foolish and rascal people out there who think they can somehow control. Even the scientists will say, we can make our life longer.
咁有好多愚蠢啦，亦都係非常呢啲嘅混蛋啊，佢就佢嗰啲科學家，佢就話啦我哋可以控制呢樣嘢，控制死亡。
But from the Bhagavad Gita, we understand even Lord Brahma, who has a long life, he also have to die.
咁我哋由國家梵教入邊知道啦，就算係主 Brahma 啦，佢有一個非常長嘅壽命啦，但係就算係主 Brahma，佢自己咧都要接受死亡。
Nobody can control death.
冇一個人咧能夠控制死亡。
Only the devotee can get out of the cycle of birth and death.
只有咧奉獻者咧係有能力咧超越呢個生死輪迴。
So therefore in this verse it says Bhave Asmin. So Srila Prabhupada says this Bhave Asmin means he says material creation, but it also means we have a material body where we go through one life form to another life form.
咁呢度用嘅 Bhave Asmin 呢個字啦，喺度聖帕巴係翻譯就係物質嘅創造啦，但係亦都咧係代表住咧我哋一生復一生嘅喺度生死輪迴。
We cannot control our own body. It goes through 6 changes.
我哋咧冇辦法控制我哋自己嘅身體，我哋會經過6種嘅改變。
Unless you're the 4 Kumaras, you cannot stop from growing.
咁咧，除非你係4個 Kumara 兄弟啦，如果唔係你冇辦法停止你嘅身體嘅成長。
The body takes birth, then it grows, then it maintains, and then after some time it produces some byproducts, and then it becomes old, and then it dies.
咁呢個係一個生命嘅6個階段啦，出生啦、成長啦。跟住維繫啦，跟住會繁殖啦，跟住慢慢就會衰老、生病，跟住最後就係死亡。
So it's called Sat Vikara. 6 different changes happen to the body.
咁呢個咧就係我哋軀體嘅6種嘅改變。
Yeah, but we can understand from the Bhagavad Gita, although the body gets destroyed, we still exist.
咁但係由國家梵歌係知道咧，就算我哋嘅軀體係被毀滅咧，我哋仍然存在。
We exist in the material body, and then we also have the subtle material body.
我哋存在喺我哋嘅物質軀體嗰度啦，我哋都擁有呢一個精微嘅身體。
When the gross material body is destroyed, the subtle material body brings you to the next body.
當我哋呢個粗糙嘅物質身體係被毀滅嘅時候咧，我哋精微嘅物質身體咧就會帶我哋咧去到另一個身體另一個軀體嗰度。
In case you don't know what the subtle material body, it is the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego.
咁呢個精微嘅物質身體咧就係3樣啦，就係我哋嘅心意啦、我哋嘅智慧同我哋嘅假我。
Everyone has to accept a subtle body.
Everyone
accept.
每一個人咧都要接受呢個精微嘅物質身體。
And people cannot see that they have to accept this subtle body.
雖然咧我哋係肉眼係睇唔到嘅，但我哋都要接受我哋有呢個精微嘅物質身體。
So here the avidya karma, and so they have all these desires, but all these desires are based on ignorance.
咁而因為基於呢個無知啦或者愚昧啦，我哋就有呢一切嘅呢啲慾望。
And it creates a subtle body.
令到咧產生出呢一個精微嘅身體。
And therefore, whatever you desire in this life, whether it's good or bad, you're creating some kind of body behind you.
咁所以無論你呢一生你有任何嘅呢啲精微嘅慾望啦，無論係好或者壞嘅，佢咧其實喺度製造緊你下一世你所接受嘅軀體係乜嘢。
No matter how intelligent you are, you cannot see the subtle body of another person.
無論你有幾聰明都好咧，你都冇辦法睇到其他人嘅精微嘅身體。
But if you are a very good devotee, you can, by speaking to someone, you can understand this person is going to become a pig or a dog or some nonsense.
咁如果你係好聰明嘅，作為一個奉獻者，通過同呢個人嘅對話咧，你就會感受到呢個人咧將會下一世咧可能會變一隻豬啦、一隻貓啦，或者一隻狗，或者係一啲更加無聊嘅生物，
Or even a ghost.
或者咧甚至係一個鬼魂。
So because we can see that, we feel compassionate to this living entity.
因為我哋睇到呢一點啦，所以我哋咧係對生物體咧係充滿咗憐憫。
But people who don't have sufficient intelligence, they say, no, the body is everything.
咁但係對一啲冇足夠智慧人嚟講，佢就話咧，我哋淨係得個軀體，隻軀體就係一切。
How do we know all this information?
我哋點樣知道呢一世嘅知識咧？
It's not through the scientists or the materialists.
並唔係通過啲物質主義者咧，或者科學家。
We get it because of Shri Krishna. He gives all this knowledge in the Shastra, especially Bhagavad-gita for most of us.
咁咧Krishna 咧係通過經典啦，尤其是咧寶嘉梵歌，將呢一切嘅知識咧係話俾我哋聽。
Dehantara prapti dirastatra namuyati. So he says the living entity changes at the time of death from one body to another body, just like he changes a dress.
咁所以咧，生物體就喺死亡嘅時候咧，就一個軀體轉換到另一個軀體，就好似我哋轉換衣服咁樣。
So either we accept Krishna's knowledge or we accept the materialist or scientist knowledge.
我哋可以選擇咧係接受 Krishna 俾我哋嘅知識啦，或者選擇咧係呢啲物質主義者或者科學家俾我哋嘅所謂嘅知識。
We are all Krishna devotees.
我哋咧全部都係 Krishna 嘅奉獻者。
So we cannot reject Krishna's words.
我哋冇辦法咧係能夠摒棄 Krishna 俾我哋嘅話語。
That is called faith. We must have good faith.
咁呢個咧就係我哋嘅信念咯。我哋必須要有呢個非常堅定嘅信念。
Otherwise, we are under the influence of this material energy, avidya, karma.
如果唔係咧，我哋就受呢個物質能量嘅影響啊，就係呢個愚昧嘅慾望。
Avidya karma samya jnana. So there it says, this all the living entities are under the influence of this ignorant energy that makes us become more and more foolish.
咁咧就係所有生物體咧就係受呢一個物質能量嘅影響啦，令我哋變得越嚟越愚蠢。
There are so many potencies of Krishna, and this avidya energy, the material energy, is just one or two energies of Krishna.
Krishna 有好多好多唔同種類嘅能量啦，而呢個 avidya 物質能量咧就係其中一種。
Parasya shakti vividaiva shruyate swabhaviki jnana balachaya cha kriya balakriya cha. Now this is that the Supreme Lord has multiple potency, cannot count, and he uses this energy to define this universe, to define the spiritual universe, and he also uses this energy to confuse and enliven the living entities.
咁咧 ，Krishna 有無限嘅能量啦，佢嘅能量係創造出呢個靈性世界啦。佢嘅物質能量咧，亦都係會影響呢一個喺物質世界入邊嘅生物體啦，亦都係令佢哋困惑。
All of them are under his will. He thinks and it happens.
咁咧，所有呢啲嘢咧，都係喺佢嘅意願之下嚟到發生嘅。佢只要至尊主去想咧，呢啲事咧就會發生。
The Lord has many potencies, as I said, but the three main potency is Bahiranga Shakti, which is the external energy, Antaranga Shakti is Krishna's internal potency, and Tatastha Shakti is all of us, marginal potency.
咁所以 Krishna 有無限嘅能量，無限種類嘅能量，但係主要有三種啦。Krishna 嘅內在能量啦，靈性能量；第二種就係外在能量啦，物質能量；同埋第三種咧就係所有生物體嘅我哋講嘅邊際能量。
the external energy of Bahiranga potency is actually the material energy, and it creates all the avidya for the living entities.
咁咧，外在能量就係我哋所講嘅物質能量啦，就係令到所有生物體咧都係充滿咗呢個愚昧 avidya。
It's inferior energy. So when you come to an inferior energy, you become also inferior.
呢個咧係我哋亦都係稱為低等能量啦。如果我哋同低等能量接觸咧，我哋都會變得咧係更加低等。
Right? If you associate with people who drink a lot, then you become drunk after a while.
如果你同一啲好中意飲酒嘅人喺埋一齊咧，你自己咧都會成日變得咧好會成日都飲醉酒。
If you associate with people who play stock market and share, you also will invest in stock market and share.
咁如果你同一啲係好中意投資喺呢個股票市場啊嘅人喺埋一齊咧，你都會變得咧非常之咧係中意咧係做呢啲投機嘅活動。
And so if we associate so much with the material energy, then we also get covered by the material energy and become ignorant of our true nature.
咁如果我哋同呢個物質能量成日都接觸嘅話咧，我哋都會被呢個物質能量所覆蓋，我哋咧就會變得係非常之愚昧，唔知我哋自己嘅本質係乜嘢。
Once we are covered by the material energy, we think, oh, this is nice, that is nice, oh, that is nice.
當我哋被呢個物質能量所覆蓋嘅時候，我哋就話啊，呢一切物質嘅嘢、物質世界嘢都非常之好啊，呢個好好，嗰個都好好。
But so many desires we have, it creates so many problems.
我哋有無限嘅慾望啦，亦都係咧係產生出咧無限嘅問題。
So sometimes we think, everyone is against me or they don't understand me. But actually, it's our own choices. We make choice and we suffer accordingly.
咁好多時咧，我哋話啊，呢個人唔明白我，唔了解我。但係其實咧，好多時都係我自己嘅選擇，我哋作出一啲唔好嘅選擇咧，結果我哋自己就受苦。
Whether you are a multi-millionaire, he also has to make choice. Whether he gains or loses, he still has to suffer, enjoy his choices.
咁就算你一個千萬富翁都好啦，你仍然都要作出呢個選擇嘅。如果你做出一啲好或者唔好嘅選擇咧，你自己都要承擔呢一啲選擇嘅後果。
A devotee must become very intelligent. A devotee must understand, I am going through difficulties because maybe in my last 1,000 years I may have done something, and so in this life I am going through some difficulties.
咁所以咧，作為一個奉獻者，我哋要有呢個智慧啦。咁我哋可能而家要面對一啲困難、一啲痛苦。咁我哋要明白到咧，可能喺我哋之前嘅前生，可能1000年啊，我哋做一啲嘢係唔好嘅嘢，結果我哋咧而家咧就要接受呢一啲嘅痛苦。
It may be very difficult, but we may have to see that Krishna is giving me something to learn. Through this devotee, through that devotee, to this devotee, like that.
咁雖然呢個係可能一個非常之困難嘅過程，但我哋要接受，亦都要明白到咧，可能 Krishna 係想通過呢個奉獻者、嗰個奉獻者，令我哋從中咧學習到一啲嘢。
Sometimes, if all the devotees say the same thing, then we should understand maybe I am the one who's having the problem.
咁如果所有奉獻者都同你講相同嘅嘢，咁你可能咧就要諗下啦。可能其實係我有我自己嘅問題。
So taking a humble position, we try to figure out how to fix our consciousness.
咁我哋咧要係保持謙卑嘅態度啦，嚟到咧去揾出咧去糾正我哋自己嘅方法。
But if you are a foolish person, no matter how many lessons you get, you cannot learn.
咁如果你係一個愚蠢嘅人都好啦，嘅話咧，無論你得到幾多教訓、幾多教導都好啦，你都冇辦法能夠從中學習。
A good example is the thieves. They steal from some company, but they know if they get caught, they go to jail.
就好似個例子就係好似一個賊咁啊，小偷佢咧就喺偷人哋公司嘅嘢啦，咁佢根本咧係完全明白到，如果俾人捉咗咧，佢咧就要坐監。
But still he will go on stealing, thinking I can be happy.
咁但係佢仍然咧係會繼續去偷嘢，佢覺得咧咁樣做咧我就會快樂。
So similarly we see in this material world, punas charvita charvananam. Although we go through the same problems and difficulty, still we think if I continue it will be okay.
咁咧，所以其實同樣係應用喺我哋身上啦。就算我哋咧一生負一生咁樣咧接受好多嘅痛苦，經過好多痛苦困難，但我哋仍然咧會覺得咧我會冇問題嘅 ，OK 嘅。
I'm continually suffering doing the same thing. Why am I still doing it?
我哋繼續做呢樣嘢，令到我繼續痛苦。但係點解我仍然要繼續咁樣做咧
Instead of trying to think how to please Krishna, we tend to think if I do little bit Krishna service, I'll be safe. Yeah.
咁我哋唔會咧就係去諗我點樣能夠不斷咁去取悅 Krishna， 我哋就覺得咧我做少少嘢去取悅 Krishna 咧，我哋就安全啦，夠㗎啦。
No, you can't because you are still under the three modes of material nature.
咁我哋係呢個咁樣諗法係唔可以，因為我哋仍然咧係受大自然物質三種屬性所影響。
Therefore, it's very important for us to understand that everyone in this material world is always in some anxiety because they will have to take either birth in the material world or they have no opportunity to go back to Godhead.
咁所以我哋明白到咧，所有生物體咧，其實喺物質世界咧都係充滿咗焦慮嘅，因為咧佢哋咧一係就要繼續投生啦，一係咧佢根本咧就冇呢個選擇可以去識得點樣去做。
Avidya kama karma be, they want to do all these foolish things and be always in anxiety.
佢哋咧淨係繼續咧做啲愚蠢嘅事情啦，跟住咧繼續咧處喺呢個焦慮當中。
Even if they know and you tell them this is not good for you, even practicing devotees also do the wrong thing. And yet, so Prabhupada says, all such people like this are rascals.
咁咧好多時好多人咧就你同佢講呢啲嘢係愚昧嘅，係冇用嘅，但佢仍然係會繼續咁樣去做。就算咧係一啲咧喺度收受嘅奉獻者都係咁樣。咁所以咧正Prabhupada就話呢啲人咧係混蛋。
And therefore, Srimati Kunti Devi says here that we have to teach these foolish people Shravanam, Kirtanam and worshipping of the Lord to become free from these difficulties. 所以喺度咧，觀自皇后就教導我哋啦，我哋要從呢啲愚昧嘅人咧，係教導佢哋去聆聽啦、去記憶啦，同埋去崇拜至尊主，令到佢哋咧可以係從呢啲愚昧當中咧係解脫出嚟。 So in the Shastra is very clear, that one should chant the holy name to become free and get out of this cycle of birth and death. 喺經典入邊咧非常清晰同我哋講，我哋要念誦主嘅聖名咧，令到我哋咧能夠喺呢一個物質世界嘅呢個生老病死嘅捆綁當中咧係解脫出嚟。And then Prabhupada gives example in Bengal, there are a group of people who say, no, you can chant any demigod's name and get free. 咁咧，正Prabhupada講過啦，就喺病江嗰度咧，有啲人咧就會話你其實念任何一個半神人嘅名都得㗎，你一樣可以得個解脫。Prabhupada say, what is this nonsense? Where is it states in the Shastra? 跟住正Prabhupada就話咧，呢啲人講嘢咁無聊嘅，究竟佢哋喺邊度喺經典入邊邊度有咁講過咧？It says Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. It doesn't say Shravanam Kirtanam Kali Smaranam. It doesn't say that. 我哋經典入面講，我哋要去聆聽啦，去記憶啦，跟住去聆聽念誦同埋記憶住邊個咧就係 Vishnu， 並唔係其他嘅半神人。It says Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama. Kevala Hare is name. It doesn't say Kali Nama, Kali Nama. It doesn't say. 我哋話 Hare Nama， 我哋唔係話 Kali Nama， 我哋淨係講 Hare 就係主嘅聖名。Yeah, so in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also it says Bala Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Shuna Krishna Nama, Aharnisha Shri Krishna Charana Kara Dhyana. That means you chant Krishna's name, you worship Krishna's name, you hear his name, and then you meditate how to serve. On the lotus feet charana, lotus feet of Krishna. 呢個係永恆啲主宰經入邊一個詩詞啦，即係話我哋要聆聽至尊主嘅聖名啦，我哋要念誦至尊主嘅聖名，我哋要記憶住至尊嘅聖名，同埋崇拜至尊主嘅蓮花足。Prati gare gare giya kare bhiksha, Bala Krishna bhaja Krishna, Kara Krishna siksha. He says we should go to every house. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells this to Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur. Go to every home and you beg them, to chant the names of Krishna, worship Krishna, and then follow Krishna's instruction. 呢個咧亦都係主要攤人俾我哋嘅教導啦，我哋要跟從咧就係主 Nityananda 同埋 Haridas Thakur 嘅榜樣啦，就係每家每戶咁樣咧係乞求佢哋咧係去念誦主嘅聖名，記憶主嘅聖名，為 Krishna 做服務。If whatever we speak is not connected to Krishna, then it is useless talk. 我哋如果講嘅任何嘢，如果係同 Krishna 冇聯繫埋一齊嘅話，呢個都係已經冇用嘅説話。 Therefore, wherever we are, whatever we do, whoever we give talk or instruction, on our hearts we should always meditate on the Supreme Lord.
咁所以當我哋無論去到邊度啦，同任何人講嘢啦，無時無刻咧，當我哋講嘢嘅時候咧，我哋咧都要咧係喺內心入邊咧記憶住 Krishna。
That is why when you look at the sun, you remember this is the eyes of Krishna.
咁所以咧，當我哋望到太陽嘅時候，我哋就可以記憶住咧，呢個咧太陽咧就係 Krishna 嘅眼睛。
And we see all the trees, then we think, oh, these are the hairs on the Supreme Lord's universal body.
咁如果我哋見到啲樹木嘅話，我哋就冥想住咧，呢個咧就係 Krishna 宇宙形象身體上面嘅呢一啲嘅毛髮。
So we may not be very advanced, but we should try at least to do something to understand God.
我哋咧未必係非常之進步，但我哋咧起碼都要嘗試去做一啲嘢咧，去了解 Krishna， 了解至尊主。
Just like a child you send to school, they learn ABC, but one day they'll become a big scholar.
咁就好似咧，你將個細路仔咧送去學校讀書啦，佢開始嘅時候咧就係讀學字母啦 ABC 啦，但係可能咧將來咧佢就會變成一個大嘅學者。
And similarly, when we do all this simple process Srila Prabhupada has given, we also can become a pure devotee.
咁所以咧，如果我哋係去遵從聖爸爸俾我哋嘅教導咧，去做一啲好簡單嘅服務嘅話咧，我哋咧亦都將來咧可以成為一個純粹嘅奉獻者。
Yeah, if you don't take up Krishna consciousness, then Prabhupada says all this is nuts and bolts civilization.
No.
Nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
What's that meaning? What that mean?
Just all the what can you eat nuts and bolts? Mechanical.
咁所以咧，聖爸爸，如果我哋咧唔去收集 Krishna 知覺嘅話咧，呢一切咧就好似啲螺絲咁樣，即係冇用嘅，係好機械性嘅。
Yeah, because you just work and then you at the end you're so tired you drink to forget all the hardship and then you eat meat. What kind of civilization Prabhupada asks?
咁如果唔係嘅話，你唔去收集嘅話，你就好似普通人咁啦，好辛苦嘅工作啦，跟住夜晚黑你就好攰啦，你就去食肉啦、飲酒啦，就好似跟住就喺度痛苦當中，咁有咩意思咧
？So we know, all of us know, we are practicing Tasmad ekana manasa Bhagavan Sattvatam Pati Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Dehe Pujascha Nityada. So we should, with one pointed attention, we should focus on our service to Krishna, glorify Him, meditate on Him.
我哋咧係用呢個專注嘅呢個嘅信念啦，非常之專一嘅信念咧嚟到係去做我哋嘅服務啦，我哋冥想 Krishna 啦，為念誦 Krishna 嘅聖名啦等等。
Okay, we will stop here. Comments, questions, corrections. Okay, la.
All thieves are not thieves out of choice. We are necessary also.
Yeah, all thieves are not thieves by choice, but out of necessity.
Okay, 咁 Prabhu 嘅評語。
Any person who does wrong doesn't do it necessarily out of choice, but out of necessity.
Yeah.
好多人去就算去做賊都好啦，都唔係去想嘅，係有咁嘅需要。
Whether it is out of necessity or not, it is still your choice. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So therefore, the Shastra is very clear that one shouldn't make bad choices.
咁所以無論你係因為你需要，所以你去偷嘢都好啦，呢個都係你嘅選擇嚟嘅。而經典亦都講得好清楚啦，我哋唔應該做一啲壞嘅選擇。
It is true that sometimes people are overwhelmed by the difficulties in their life and they make bad choices.
咁係有陣時咧係有啲人咧喺生活入邊咧真係冇辦法啦，佢真係有呢個需要去做一啲壞嘅選擇。
And therefore for devotees we go out to give Harinam, we chant, to elevate the consciousness of the common people so that they don't fall into this trap of repeatedly making bad choices.
咁所以咧，點解作為奉獻者，我哋會出去 Harinam 啦，將呢個聖名派發出去啦，令到能夠提高咧人嘅意識，令到佢哋咧唔使咧不斷咁重複咁做一啲唔好嘅決定。
And the other problem is the bad government.
咁另外一個問題就係一個唔好嘅、好壞嘅政府。
although they may see from their point of view that they are doing the best to increase the economic welfare of the society, but they neglect so many important things to elevate the consciousness of the common man.
咁可能呢個政府會覺得咧，我已經盡咗力咧係去提升呢一個人民嘅經濟嘅狀況啦，但係佢哋咧亦都忽略咗好多嘢咧係去提升咧人嘅呢一個嘅意識。
When the common man's intelligence is elevated, the consciousness is elevated, everyone will know what is right and wrong.
咁當一般人嘅意識啦，佢哋嘅智慧係提升咗嘅時候咧，佢根本咧就會知道咧邊啲係啱，邊啲係錯。
And therefore they will combine together using their intelligence to create opportunities for others to do proper activities or job that they can progress properly.
咁所以佢哋可以係呢啲人係合作啦，喺埋一齊咧，就製造啲機會咧，令到所有人咧都有呢一啲工作啊、啲服務咧，可以咧令到佢哋咧能夠咧係不斷咁進步。
For one who has some knowledge about Krishna consciousness, and if we are in such a difficult position, we should always come to the temple and pray and say, please give me good intelligence so that I do not invest my valuable life and energy in wrong things and suffer continuously.
咁作為一個奉獻者咧，我哋咧，如果當我哋遇到困難嘅時候，我哋就應該嚟到神像，嚟到 Krishna 嘅面前去祈禱啦，就希望咧係佢能夠賜呢個智慧俾我哋，令到我哋咧可以去懂得點樣去面對呢啲困難，就唔使咧係不斷喺度繼續咁樣咧係呢個痛苦當中。
Okay 啦，Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai
Srila Gurudeva ki Nitai Gaura Premanande